Welcome to Medicated Housewife DIYs. In today's video, we'll be making gorgeous, unique, and high-end looking outdoor decor. It's DIY, cheap outdoor decor that looks expensive, using Dollar Tree and other bargain store items. It's summer-ready DIY. You're gonna love it. Let's jump right into this. The first project is an outdoor solar chandelier using a Dollar Tree hula hoop. We removed the tape around the hoop and opened it, cut off some excess, and retaped it back together with some duct tape. This made the hoop smaller, and then we spray painted it a black matte color. To begin with, we are using these small black plastic clips that I purchased on Amazon. I'll leave the link below. They're actually fishing rod holders. They cost about $8 for 20 of them, and we used 12 of them. I measured the diameter of the small end of the light against the diameter of the clip, which does stretch a little in order to hold things. The diameter of the opening fits the bottom of these Dollar Tree lights perfectly. We removed the stakes from the bottom of the solar lights first. We don't need those, so we discarded them. Using these clips instead of gluing the solar lights themselves will allow us to remove the lights from the clips when needed to replace them as they burn out, which Dollar Tree solar lights tend to do. They don't last forever, but they only cost $1, so that's the trade-off. We're going to glue the clips to the inside rim of the hula hoop. I used hot glue. You could probably use E6000 for this too, or both, but for the sake of convenience, I used my Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks. You can use however many clips you want. You can space them out on the hoop however you want. If you want to be exact, you can measure out your clips evenly. I opted to just wing it, which worked out fine in the end. I glued a total of 12 clips. I will say that although not on the video, I did end up using some black zip ties to secure the clips to the hoop even more, and I found that crossing over two zip ties, like in a crisscross formation, really made the clips secure. And in retrospect, I may have been able to use less or even no glue if I had tried the zip ties first. You'll find I used a lot of zip ties in today's projects. I don't know why I never really used them before, but you can bet I will be using more of them in the future. They really are versatile and a nice change from using a ton of glue on everything. Although using them does feel a little like cheating because they're so easy. Let me know in the comments if you use a lot of zip ties in your DIY projects. I'm really just curious. Now you can see I'm just going to finish up gluing these all around the hula hoop, just spacing them out as I go. I decided to use some of the black poly rope from the hardware section at Dollar Tree to wrap around the clips and the hoop, further securing them together. To be honest, I just don't love this poly rope. It's the first time I used it in any project, and if you're not familiar with it, it totally reminds me of a black plastic garbage bag. It's like really they took black plastic garbage bags and spun them into a rope. That's what it would look like. But maybe I really just don't understand the uses for this rope, like what it's made for. Let me know in the comments if you use this rope and if I'm totally missing the point of its usefulness, which is entirely possible. All I can say is that I'm not sure I'd use it again for anything really decorative, but I did what I could with it and it worked for my purposes. It was black, the color matched, and I tied it around all of the clips with the hoop. Next, we are attaching the Dollar Tree black plastic fencing, this time to the outer edge of the hoop using some black zip ties. I already cut off the sharp stakes from the bottom of the fencing. I secured it to the hoop every 4 or 5 inches, and that made it really secure. I used a total of 4 pieces of fence for this. You may use more or less. Obviously, you're going to want to trim the excess off of all the zip ties when you're finished. Using a wire cutter or strong scissors, I found the wire cutter to do the trick really well. This is like a really easy part of the project. Now I don't have it on video, but I also used the black hanging chains from the Dollar Tree metal plant hangers to hang the entire chandelier. I attached 2 sets of the 3 hanging chains together, and this was just long enough to hang it. I also wrapped the entire hoop with some faux ivy I had in my stash. You can get faux ivy at Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby or even Amazon. I literally just wrapped it, no glue. It's just, twisted around the entire thing. And this is how my chandelier turned out. I love this look. It looks like so much more than it is. It's easy to hang anywhere because it's plastic, so it's very lightweight. The greenery covers any imperfections of the glue or the rope. It's just simple, easy project that can make a statement in your outdoor decor. It's also really easy to customize. I mean, you could add flowers to this for an English garden look, or fairy lights would also work very well to give it some extra sparkle. Although it is not super bright at night, it's a lovely addition to your yard, your patio, or your deck during the day and during the night. I encourage you to definitely give this one a try. Our next project is an outdoor bamboo or a tiki style ladder silverware holder. I had several Dollar Tree tiki torches that I used the little citronella part for some tabletop torches, so I had the actual bamboo pieces left over. I trimmed the edges off of the bamboo pieces, and then I cut 2 longer pieces for the ladder sides and 3 shorter pieces for the 3 ladder rungs or the steps. You can do this in an exact measurement, but I eyeballed it because I knew just how tall I wanted the ladder to be to fit on the tabletop it was going to be on. And I did make sure, obviously, that all 3 ladder rungs, the steps, were exactly the same size. I hot glued the rungs to the 2 side pieces, and I'm using, you guessed it, zip ties to really secure the rung pieces to the base of the ladder. I did a crisscross of 2 zip ties at each of the 6 connections of the ladder. I adjusted the zip ties, and then I cut off the excess with wire cutters so that there were no sharp pieces that could stick or, hurt anybody anywhere. So although zip ties are tremendously convenient, they don't look very good. I knew I had to cover them up with something, and I decided to use some Dollar Tree nautical rope to cover over the crisscross zip ties. The rope was not going to be functional in any way. It's purely decorative, so no one can see the ties. I hot glued the rope directly over each of the ties, and I glued the front of the ladder first, and then I turned the whole thing over and glued and trimmed the rope on the back. So once all the rope is glued and dry, I had these really nice bamboo drinking cups already in my stash. You could also use some nice wooden round cups, like the kind they sell at Amazon or any of the craft stores, the ones for holding pencils and brushes and stuff. These would also work for this, but I already had the bamboo cups and they matched nicely with the bamboo ladder. I used my Silhouette Cameo to cut 3 simple decals of a fork, a knife, and a spoon. If you don't have a cutter, you could most likely find stickers like these at the Dollar Tree, or even print them out on a piece of paper, cut them out, and Mod Podge them onto the cup. So I applied the decals to the cups. I used a little outdoor Mod Podge over the decals to protect them. I then drilled, or full disclosure, my husband actually drilled these for me. I drilled 2 small holes in the back of each of the cups where I was going to attach them to the ladder with, you guessed it, zip ties. I took a zip tie and threaded it through the outside to the inside of the cup and then out again. Then I attached the zip tie to the first ladder rung, and I decided to put the forks on the top rung, the knives on the second rung, and the spoons on the bottom. I attached each cup with a zip tie, sliding the cup to exactly where I wanted it to be on the rung, and then I filled the cups with some metal silverware. Just a side note, I like using Dollar Tree metal silverware for outdoor entertaining. I just think it's nice to not always use plastic, and frankly, it's just easier and nicer to eat with metal. It's very easy to clean up and to reuse, and it's better for the environment. Now, after I filmed this, I realized that the cups were filled with silverware. They were heavy and they were swinging back and forth on the ladder. So I actually added 3 additional rungs to the ladder so that the ladder had a total of 6 rungs on it, 1 under each of the heavy cups, just to support their weight and to keep them stationary while they were filled. And this is how it turned out. I love how tropical this bamboo ladder silverware holder is. It's a tiki vibe that just screams summer in a really fun way. It's totally practical, it's fun and quirky at the same time. It's a great project that you can customize to your own sense of style. You could use regular wood dowels instead of bamboo, or cups made out of something else like tin cans or glass jars. The possibilities are endless. It's fun and it's a simple project that you really ought to try. The third project is so simple. We're going to be using 3 of these wood snake toys from the Dollar Tree. I really love these snakes, and the fact that they are actually wood with a really unique texture. I just love seeing what people are doing with them. I've seen them used as tray handles, I've seen them used as candle holders or vases, but I don't think anyone has used them to make a napkin holder as we are going to do today. We used 3 snakes with the tails and the heads cut off. We're going to stain all 3 of them. You can use any stain you want. You could also probably paint them too. I'm using the wood stain from Home Depot in the color Early American. I really didn't get too detailed with the staining on these. I used a foam brush and I just kind of dabbed the surface, and the stain mostly seeped into the crevices and the folds of the snake pretty much on its own. I did use a small brush for some details like the ends, as you can see, and then I used a rag to wipe off all the excess stain from the snakes, and then I put them aside to dry. After the snakes have thoroughly dried, it's time to glue them. I'm going to be using a combination of E6000 and some dabs of hot glue so that the hold will be strong and also it'll hold fast. The first snake we glue into a circle, and that's going to end up being our napkin base. Give the base a minute or 2 to dry, and then we glue the first side of our napkin holder. We're gluing both ends of that snake at the same time using the E6000 and a couple of dabs of the hot glue. We do the 2 ends of each snake at the same time just because I feel like it makes the placement a little easier. Now we're going to hold that in place for a few minutes to set. After a few minutes, we're going to spin it around and repeat the process directly on the other side with our final snake. Using the E6000 and the hot glue, we are totally mirroring the first side. We want them to be directly across from each other. And after that, we're just going to set this aside so that the piece can fully dry. And this is how our napkin holder came out. I think this is really cool looking. The wood, the texture, the color, it's a little industrial, it could be a little modern, maybe a touch of rustic. It's just cool looking. Now you could also use this in an office type setting. It'd be a great holder for envelopes like mail or memos. I just love the fact that we used Dollar Tree snake toys to make it for a total of $3. How great is that? I really hope you enjoyed these 3 outdoor decor Medicated Housewife DIYs. And if you'd like to see more DIYs, hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.